Well, it looks like we've got rocks embedded once again, and the problem's not just here, it's all the way up here too. Welcome back to Nate the Hoof Guy. While this hoof is packed full of rocks now, I think the original problem was likely a sole fracture based on the location of that rock. You'll notice with this one as well, she's got a little bit of reverse corkscrew or medial corkscrew claw rotation. You can tell that based on the size of that claw on the right. That's the medial claw, and it's larger than the claw on the left, which is the lateral. Typically, it's going to be the other way around, but because of this reverse corkscrew situation, there's more weight being applied to that medial claw, and the way that those bones have changed in that foot, the medial claw is actually larger. What does that mean when it comes to trimming? Well, most of the trimming is going to have to be done on that medial claw. This lateral one, I can leave those toes right where they're at because they're already the right length. I do have to shorten this medial though. Now we can address where that rock was embedded and see if we can find out what's underneath. The reason I believe that this was a sole fracture originally is based on its location. That is where we find almost every single sole fracture that we find, and this one is no different. Now, it could have been just a rock puncture, but like I said, based on the location, I'm going to go with a sole fracture. Now, whether this is a sole fracture or a puncture, the approach is going to be the same. Removal of loose horn is step number one here. Before I get that all sprayed out, let's get a block on this other claw, and then we'll finish tackling that. Now, this is the first trim out of two, and guess what? Number two, well, she's got rocks as well. Once we get this all sprayed out, you'll be able to see what we're dealing with much clearer. What started out as a small area is now an entire area colonized by digital dermatitis. We've still got some loose edges to get cleaned up here, and then we're going to give it a wrap. All these little areas of erosion here can trap dirt and debris and filth and stuff. So we're going to trim those all away, make this a nice and clean, and then we can get our treatment exactly where we want it. With all that taken care of, we can get this salicylic acid wrap in place, and then we can let her go and see how she's walking. And then we'll move on to cow number two. Oh, yes, she has rocks as well. So here we are with our second case of the day, and this one is very similar, except in this case, it started with a white line defect. Just look at all those rocks packed up in there. Would you just listen to all those little baby calves bellowing? That's because they know it's feeding time and they are impatient. I always get a lot of questions about those little hutches that they keep the calves in, and why do farmers do that? Well, they put them in there so that they can keep a close eye on each individual calf. They know exactly how much each calf is eating and drinking. They're able to see if it's going to the bathroom properly. All those little things that we do with our own babies when we first have them to make sure that everything's going all right, they're able to monitor that when they're kept separate like that. Not only that, but their immune systems are weak when they're first born, so it gives them a little time to get that built up before they're all put together and spreading those germs. Now, this area here is just a little bit of natural shedding where that sole has shed away a little bit more than the rest of it. There's nothing wrong with that. Up here, you see how that's soft? That means I'm going to need to put a block on that other claw regardless. If you take a real close look up there, you'll see that the lesion that was originally there, well, it's gone. It's healed up on its own. However, there's still a crevice there. That's what those rocks were able to get up into. So the block is needed just because that sole is a little soft. Now, what have you noticed with both of these trims? While both of these trims started with something else, those other problems allowed rocks to get up in there and make this problem worse. That's one of the reasons why we have to treat these. Would they heal naturally? Well, yes. This one is proof positive that they can. However, in the time that it takes for that to happen, other complications can happen. We can get rocks in there, and digital dermatitis can take hold and cause further problems. We'll get this sprayed out and you'll see this one is actually healed. There's a fresh layer of hoof horn all the way across that. So we're not going to need to wrap this, but we did need a block because, like I said, it is still soft. The glue is cured nicely, which means this foot can go down and she is done.